Okay. Hi, everybody. Tara Green here. I'm on live here a few minutes early, just to make sure that everything's a go. So I'll wait a few minutes. It is 7:58 p.m. here in Eastern Daylight Time, and I'm welcoming you to July's Astrology and Tarot Preview. Okay, and yeah, get ready to hold on to your hats. All right. So I'll wait for everybody to come up. I wanted to make sure that we're going. I've been having some problems with my computer and stuff like that. So if you're there, please come on and say hi. Tell me where you are. I'm up here in Toronto, Canada. It is July the 1st, I believe, starting here in Greenwich Mean Time. So let's see. Try closing other applications. Okay, so it says that I'm having some issues. Let's see. I'm just sending a message now to Yulia of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. So, okay, good. All right. All right, we're all systems go here. So, a few minutes early here. If you haven't been here before, I'll introduce myself. I am Tara Green. I'm Agent 129 of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency, and I've been an agent since 2014. Wow, that's a long time now. And I've been doing these monthly live events for many, many years, and it is my honor and pleasure to be here for you. So welcome, Cosmic Intelligence Agency fans, Facebook fans, people who know me from my own personal work as well. Welcoming you to July's Astrology and Tarot Guide. So if you haven't been here before, I'll probably have to repeat this again. What I'm going to do is I have a whole big list here. Here's my list of all the aspects. As you can see, it's going to be a very busy month here. All the major aspects that are going on this month. Welcome, welcome. Hi, I'm Tara Green, Agent 129 of the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. I'm up here in Toronto, Canada, welcoming you to July's Astrology and Tarot Preview. So I will be, if you haven't been here before, this is the way this works. I'm going to, again, here's my big list, all the aspects. Very busy month here going on. I'm going to read this out. It's like an astrology newscast and explain a little bit. I'm going to riff off of what's going on in detail. So, stick around for that. And then after that, we get to the good part, the part that it's all good, of course, but we get to the part where I use my tarot cards here. So I'm using my Thoth Tarot. This is my go-to tarot. It's my big teaching tarot deck. So we're going to move from the month of Cancer into the month of Leo, ruled by the sun there. So I will use the 22 major arcana, or trumps, but you don't say trumps these days, to divine for each sign, cosmic divination here, what the month ahead holds for you. So I'm going to start with Aries, of course, the first sign, and with Pisces. But if you do know your ascendant, your sun, your moon, or any other planets where they are, you can use those tarot cards for guidance as well. So please say hi. Give me a wave. I can't see the chat right now. Let's see if I can get to my phone here and see the chat. So say hi to me so I can see what's going on with you. Okay, so please say hi, because it's always nice when I can see people. Okay, I can see myself on my phone now. Okay, say hi to me. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let's see if I can see this on my phone now. Okay. All right, I'm going to wait another couple minutes here, so please be patient. A little bit about me. I'm a professional astrologer for over 30 years, a tarot card reader, a psychic, an intuitive. I work with many different mystical tools. I do my own workshops as well. Cosmic Intelligence Agency wants me to let you know, if you're in Australia, about a beautiful live Venus workshop. Yulia, who started this Cosmic Intelligence Agency, is an expert on the Venus cycle. So check in about that. Also, join the Cosmic Intelligence Agency. They have wonderful astrologers, great astrologers all over the world who present workshops and who do a lot of free things. This is really the best resource for really in-depth, serious astrology. Okay. All right. So, geez, I still can't see who's there for some reason. Okay, here we go. 3-day retreat. Okay, so Yulia just posted that. Hi. Okay, now I can see it. That's much better. Okay, hi, my friend Andre. Other people are there. somebody in the United States of Earth. Oh, that's nice. Somebody from Melbourne. Hi. Macquarie, Australia. Petra. Hi, Petra. Sacramento, California. Let's see. Agent 267, Kathleen. Hi from Miami Beach. They can hear me okay. Okay, good. All right. Hi, everybody. Okay, so, all right, it's 8:03, so let's get started. All right, so as you know, we are in the emotional sign of Cancer season, and we're going to move into Leo season on July the 22nd. There's a lot of planetary change-ups going on. It's going to be a very intense month. Now, July starts off with a bang because you've already been feeling this with Mars squaring Pluto tomorrow. Okay, July the 1st. Now, I'm up here in Canada. It is Canada's birthday tomorrow, and so it is going to be a rough year for Canada because this is Canada's solar return today or tomorrow. I haven't really checked it out yet. But Mars square Pluto, so there's going to be lots of fights with the government. What else is new? So again, I'm going to do a little bit of a preview here and then talk about the more of the details. Okay, now, no, let's just get right down to it. Okay, something didn't right. All right. July the 4th and the 5th, Mars enters Taurus and Mercury enters Cancer on America's birthday. Okay. See, something is missing here. All right. That is very strange. No. Okay, so I did a big preview and then I'm going to go over it. All right, hold on a second. All right, Mars enters Taurus and Mercury enters Cancer. So Mars entering Venus-ruled Taurus. Taurus rules the throat sign, so we're going to move from all that aggressive energy. People have been really, fighting. You can, what's been going on in the States with Roe versus Wade and the abortion issue. It's still all about autonomy for women, whatever you believe in. And then Mercury enters Cancer, which is the sign of the mother. So it's a very interesting. Mars and Mercury will both be in feminine, nurturing, receptive signs there. So, in Cancer, of course, Canada and America are both Cancerian countries. On July the 1st, there's going to be the second exact first Pluto return in the U.S. Now, I'm going to do a big article about that myself. So the first one was February the 20th. Now, Pluto is retrograde. So we're going to go back, of course, back to, July the 4th, 1776, where Pluto was when America was started. So this is really America really redefining what it is, what it was born from, where it's going to go. Is it going to live or die, basically, at this point? July the 13th, there's a full moon at 21 degrees of Capricorn, conjunct Pluto. That's 2 days later. So that's also part of that energy. Again, the first U.S. Pluto return. Pluto is the planet of destruction. It is the planet of plutocracy. In Capricorn, it rules the earth. So, the patriarchs, Pluto does destroy everything, but it's bringing out all the shadows as well. So, hey, the less people want to do their inner work, the more and tougher those shadows are going to come up. On July the 28th, there's a new moon at 5 degrees Leo as Jupiter turns retrograde. Yes, Jupiter's also going to turn retrograde in Aries. Mercury changes signs twice this month in typical mercurial fashion. It enters Cancer on the 4th or the 5th and Leo on July the 20th. Venus enters the emotional water side of Cancer on July the 29th, focusing on mothering, home, and food. Okay, so things are going to get more emotional. It's already been very emotional since the last, what. Mars enters stubborn Taurus, Venus ruled Taurus. We said that already. Jupiter turns retrograde. 28th of July, 8 degrees, 42 minutes. Aries until October 23rd, when it'll be at 28 degrees, 48 Pisces. So again, Jupiter is going to go back to Pisces on October the 20th, I believe. And so we're all going to go backwards, right back to where we were for a couple months there with Jupiter and Pisces. That's going to be very interesting. Definitely means more lockdowns. Chiron turns retrograde July the 18th at 16 degrees Aries. So the wounded warrior, the wounded masculine, that's what we're really seeing in the world. Needs to go back and take off some of its armor. Okay. So again, that Mars square Pluto, I'm sure you've been feeling the tension of that one. Yep. It's all you can do. Everybody's being tested to stay calm, to stay in the middle. On July the 2nd, Mercury trines Saturn in Aquarius and squares Neptune in Pisces. So trines are nice positive aspects. Mercury is our thinking. And this is air sign Saturn in Aquarius, even though it's retrograde. we get to think the big picture. We get to see big picture. We want to be inventive. We want new strategies, but be careful about wishful thinking. On the 3rd, Mercury in conjuncts Pluto. And so, again, in conjuncts are blind spots. Pluto is the plutocracy, it's our inner wealth. Where are we not seeing what our inner wealth is? It's America's birthday with the moon in Virgo. So it's all about the environment. It's about harvesting. It's about budgeting. There's inflation really out of control. It's going to get worse too, I'm sorry to say. So you got to make sure you have something saved for a rainy day. July the 4th, Mars enters Venus, ruled earthy, stubborn, bull market, Taurus sign in the PDT. Mercury enters emotional Cancer again. And those things repeat on the 5th, depending on what time zone you're in. July the 8th, Sun squares Chiron and Aries. So again, where you're wounded, where you're the most defensive, where you're the most vulnerable, these kinds of energies are coming up all month. So we're all being challenged to be vulnerable. The strength of the warrior is to be vulnerable. I keep getting this image of Guinevere knighting Sir Lancelot on his knee, honoring the divine feminine. And Mercury in Cancer squares Jupiter in Aries. That's in PDT. So again, squares, hard aspects, speaking from your emotions and not being defensive. But there will be challenges to that. And that happens in EDT and GMT on the 9th. On the 10th, Sun sextiles Uranus and Taurus. Sextiles are nice, easy aspects. And again, Uranus is the inventor. It's the pioneer. It's about thinking outside the box or thinking outside of the current situation. The Sun is bringing in new energy. July the 12th, Mercury in Cancer squares Chiron, the wounded healer. That's in PDT. Of course, it repeats in EDT the next day. Again, Mercury in Cancer, we're thinking with our emotions. We cannot separate ourselves from our feelings. It's very sentimental. We may want to hide our feelings. We're maybe putting on that crabby armor to keep people away because we're so wounded. Okay, so understand that's what you need to do to protect yourself and say no and draw some boundaries. That's a very healthy thing. On the same day of the 13th, Venus trines Saturn in Aquarius again. It's the 13th. It's the full moon at 21 degrees Capricorn. Again, with Pluto there. Okay, so again, things are very volatile. It's basically a fight to the death at this point. On July the 13th, Venus squares Neptune in Pisces. That's in PDT the next day in EDT and GMT. So Venus and Neptune are connected, of course, because Neptune is the higher octave. It is the sacred, spiritual, compassionate, unconditional love, soulmate, the real soulmate aspect. And so when they're at odds with each other, again, we're not seeing eye to eye with those we love or with those we're projecting onto, and we're, being challenged to see what's real and what isn't. Okay, so it could be a big reveal, a bit of a shocking thing too. On the 15th, Venus in conjuncts Pluto. So Pluto is the Lord of Wealth at its highest aspect. Hades, Pluto, Lord of Wealth, and actually agricultural, earthly wealth. So Pluto in Capricorn is about resources, those rich resources, which the plutocrats, of course, are raping and continue to rape. So again, the role of women here, women going up against the corporate structure. Okay, July the 16th, the Sun in conjunct Saturn. So again, the Sun is where we shine the brightest in Cancer, out of balance with Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. Because Saturn is still retrograde in its own sign, things are still being tested. We're needing to review and reflect and go back over whatever new ground we thought we made. Where's our blind spots? Checking out those blind spots are really important because that's where we're really vulnerable. Okay, Mercury also in conjunct Saturn, so that's a pretty in conjunct day, July the 16th. So we're thinking again and seeing the big picture, cooperating. It's really important. If people get together and collaborate, they can do anything. The power is in the hands of the people. That's what Aquarius is all about. Okay. The Sun conjunct Mercury in Cancer. So that's a Mercury Cazimi in Cancer. So thinking about nurturing, thinking about emotional security, thinking about home, food, children, the divine feminine, the womb, our minds, and feeding, giving our minds and our stomachs nurturing. We're going to need that, because we can't separate our emotions when Mercury's in Cancer very well. On July the 17th, Mercury trines Neptune in Pisces, and the Sun trines Neptune in Pisces. So that's a really, really beautiful day to just be creative, meditate, or especially be near water, do water blessings, water pujas. Traditionally, make offerings to water. If you want abundance in Hindu or Tibetan traditions, you offer water. So again, very romantic, very idealistic, kind of a beautiful, get lost in a beautiful place kind of energy, right? So good for creative energy, good for romantic energy as well. And Venus enters the sign of Cancer on that day, GMT. On the 18th, Mercury opposes Pluto. So again, this is a battle of, again, what we feel, the vulnerability, the compassion, our minds being able to speak our feelings, to think about our feelings, opposing Pluto in Capricorn, which can be very, at its most negative, very vile and very restrictive. Okay. And also, it's connecting with death. Things have to die for new things to be reborn. On July the 19th, Mercury enters proud, fiery, party hardy, dramatic Leo. So this is where the sun really takes over at that time. And we get to, lighten up very literally. We get to be in our strength and our courage and our daring and our passion. And we wear our hearts on our sleeves. And we're all kings and queens, or whatever. We're all sovereign in our own right. That's really what that's about. So again, everybody taking their sovereign right to do what they want with their bodies, super important. Okay. So on the 19th, then, I'm just checking out here. Chiron turns retrograde. So Chiron, discovered November the 1st, 1977, the wounded healer, an astronomer named this body, which has 3 different astronomical designations, after this Greek myth, Chiron, who taught Asclepius, who founded dream healing temples in Greece. There's an actual historical record of this. So Chiron, of course, the centaur, like Sagittarius, famed as a great healer. He is also where our greatest vulnerability and where the greatest healing is. So this gives us a chance to go back, yes, once again, and review our wounds. It's always childhood wounds, but it's also karmic wounds. We come in with our own soul wounds that we choose to work on in this lifetime. Okay. Now, July 19th, the sun opposes Pluto. That's big power struggles. Again, women opposing the patriarchy. Okay. Or anybody standing up for their rights and really listening to your heart and listening what's in your heart. If you just have the courage to stand up and say, this is what I feel, this is what I want to produce, to nurture, to bring into the world, wearing your heart on the sleeve, not being afraid, courage, daring, chutzpah, okay? Standing up to the big powers, okay? Now, July 22nd, Leo time, 4:07 p.m. EDT, again, sovereignty, drama, big drama time. Okay, this haven't been dramatic enough. But we can all play roles. We can play whatever roles we want. That's Leo. And it's the sign of the child. So again, being open-hearted like a child. On July 23rd, Mercury trines Jupiter in Aries. Again, this is a good time to speak your truth. Mercury's in Leo now, so you can speak from your heart with a lot of courage. On July the 24th, Venus squares Jupiter. So again, these squares to Jupiter starting out. This is in PDT on the 24th, on the 25th, and all the other time zones. Venus is always a great benefit, and so is Jupiter. So these two benefactors kind of pressuring and pushing each other to be their finest. That's a really good thing. Good time for a proposal. It's a good time to have a party, to celebrate. That's really good energy. On the 26th, Mercury in Leo squares Mars and Taurus. So again, squares hard aspects, but they pressure things to come forward. I always think of squares as being like the sand in the oyster, the pressuring the oyster to make a pearl out of it. Mars and Taurus, speech, singing, the arts, creativity, the land, love of the land, love of our bodies, being very sensuous, right? So speaking really that heart truth, and really embodying it, okay? Being stubborn, things will be very stubborn, those fixed signs, right? July 28th, the new moon is at 5 degrees of Leo as Jupiter turns retrograde at 8 degrees of Aries. So again, Jupiter expands whatever sign it touches. So very heartfelt, very courageous, very daring, here's what we're after, here's what we're going to go for. And then as Jupiter turns retrograde, we're going to review the progress that we've made. So of course, people with planets at early Aries up to 8 degrees will feel Jupiter moving retrograde until for that next time, until Jupiter re-enters Pisces at the end of October until December the 28th, I believe. Mercury squares Uranus and Taurus. That's a shakeup in the crypto markets. That's July the 28th. Okay. And on the 30th to 31st, Mercury opposes Saturn in Aquarius, and Venus squares Chiron in Aries. Again, this repeating of these woundings, vulnerability. You have to choose, which wolf you feed. Are you going to be the aggressor? Are you going to be the victim? Are you going to cover up that you're wounded? The whole world is PTSD these days. So Mercury opposing Saturn in Aquarius can be good to use Saturn's discipline to bring new ideas from the heart. Okay. And at the end of the month, the Sun trines Jupiter. There's a great benefic energy at the end of the month. We're ending July on a big, big high note. Okay. So that was a lot of information. I hope you're still there with me. Okay. So now what we're going to do, I wish I could answer your questions. I guess I can see them here on my phone. All right. So what we're going to do now, okay, so I'm going to smudge you all virtually. Smudge everybody virtually. Okay, and I smudge my cards. Okay, smudge my cards. Okay, smudging the cards. Keep going. I'm going to smudge my beautiful crystal here that I always use. So this is a special Herkimer diamond crystal. Looks like a crystal skull there that I got years ago. And I use it to tune into myself. So I open my crown chakra, my sixth sense, my third eye, my throat chakra, my heart chakra. My will chakra, I open up all the chakras, and I use this to cleanse the cards each time. So okay, so just give me a second here. I'm going to focus in on Aries. So of course, Aries with Mars and Aries, you guys have been really up and running, and Jupiter and Aries for those people born in the first 8 days of Aries, you've been benefiting or more angry or more defensive or starting new things and all that. Aries, headstrong, spontaneous energy. All right, so Aries, what do you need right now? Okay. All right, so Aries, speaking of Mars, you get the Tower. So if you're familiar with the 22 major arcana in the tarot, they are beautiful, beautiful spiritual guides to the path from the soul coming into enlightenment, from enlightenment into enlightenment, but forgetting that it's already enlightened in the earth plane. So that's what the 22 major tarot trumps or arcana depict: the soul, the fool, the zero, the beginning and the end, dropping into the earth plane to experience these 22 stages of enlightenment. So the Tower, number 16 here. So it is Mars. If you can see that, this is why I like to use this deck, Mars. So whatever your ego thinks it is, that's going to have to be destroyed. That's going to have to be blown up. And you need to have this flash of insight. This is an epiphany. Now, the Tower, of course, I usually always mention this, that, when 9/11 happened, and I'm very sorry for all the innocent thousands that died during that. This was America being integrated very literally into the Tower. And just like astrology, the more you study astrology, the more you study the tarot, sometimes you realize that those symbols are very, very literal. Okay, so Mars comes along. He was called Dis to Romans, so any, like, not destructive, but part of it, disaster. Dis meaning against. Okay, so, and disaster means without a star, so you never want to be without a star, actually. So the goddess Dis in Roman terms, he was destructive. He was Disturbia, like Eris, the goddess of Disturbius, right beside Mars right now. So things are very, very intense with Eris and Mars. They were brother and sister, destructive, warlike. They enjoy blood. Okay, they enjoy battles and fighting. So if you've been engaged in a lot of fights, Aries, for the last while, whatever your sun, your moon, your rising, wherever you have Aries planets, sometimes that destruction just blows everything up too much. Is that what you really want? Now destruction is a necessary part of reconstruction. And every moment our cells are dying and being born. So Mars is the life force. It's anger. It's the masculine. It's testosterone driven. It's like, whoa, everybody's had a big wake up call, right? And I've been thinking about this a lot in a conversation with a friend of mine, which I'm I guess I better talk about now, about Pluto, Pluto's job being the destroyer, and how Pluto, since 2008, when the subprime mortgage started, is supposed to destroy, the sign it's in, which is the plutocracy. Now, the thing is that people are not integrating their shadow. That's what Pluto rules. And so what we're seeing is the outward shadow being mirrored back. So we all have to integrate our own shadows here. And this is partly, it can be really hard to look at our own shadows. Okay, we always want to project it out to someone else. So Aries, new beginnings, destroy it, blow it up, burn down the house, not literally, start something new. You can play that Talking Head song, one of my favorites, actually. All right. Okay, so now, Taurus. So Taurus, well, it's going to be nice when more planets enter Taurus, and of course Uranus is in Taurus. Okay, so Taurus, you get the Death card. Now, I think more and more people know about the archetypes of the tarot. Of course, the Death card, number 13, is Scorpio. So this is the shadow side of Taurus, Scorpio. Now, the South Node is in Scorpio, Taurus, so you need to be releasing all of the old unconscious hang-ups, things that are in your psyche that are no longer useful to your current growth. And death, this is the Grim Reaper. This is actually Saturn, another name for Saturn, actually. The Grim Reaper comes along and culls and gets rid of all that old stuff, right? So think about this beautiful kind of death image here. The toxic relationships, the role playing that you've done, the anger, the resentment, there's all that dark side of Scorpio, which is where you lash out and you destroy when you don't mean to. Integrate all of those shadows. You can use your dreams as well to integrate those shadows. So Taurus, I know you don't like change, but this is all about change. Okay, this is what Uranus is teaching you. Uranus is just past the halfway mark in Taurus right now. It's at 16 degrees at the moment. So we've only halfway gone. Uranus is only halfway gone through Taurus. So there's another while to go here. So use death as an ally. That is an old native saying. Death is an ally. It's a good day to die. So live your life fully in the moment. Taurus loves to enjoy life and indulge. So what do you need to bring death to? You can call on Kali. She's like the goddess of destruction of the ego. Okay, so she destroys the ego so you can manifest your soul. Okay, so Taurus, Death card. Okay, also finances. Scorpio rules finances, as does Taurus. So again, people are going through a lot of financial issues. Again, the best laid plans, things that you might have been hoping for, maybe will follow through to make way for something else. Okay, so Gemini. All right, Gemini. So here's what you need, Gemini. You get the card of Justice here in this deck. It is number 8. In some decks, it's number 11. You can plainly see it's Justice, it's Libra. Okay, so Gemini, air sign. You do tend to go back and forth in your Gemini fashion, asking questions, angel, devil, one side, the other side. Okay, but really it is the middle path. This is what the Buddha taught, and also on the tree of life, there are 3 pillars. There's the pillar of good, the pillar of evil, and then there's the middle pillar, the middle way. That's what the Buddha taught. Okay, you don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to overdo. You just find a middle path. Okay, so Gemini, take a deep breath and go find some equanimity. Okay, equilibrium, peace. Find yourself some peace of mind, Gemini. Okay. So if that's through meditation or just doing breathing or just mindful meditation, it's not about you. It's also about, what does the other side need? And also integrating both those sides. Okay. So this is a sign of marriage, traditionally, a sign of relationships. Gemini, you need to pay attention to your relationships and to forge a middle ground, or be the go-between, be the ambassador, be the consultant, be the counselor. But take your own wise counsel too. Okay. All right, Gemini, Libra. Okay. All right. How's everybody doing out there? Okay. Cancer. All right. So we are in Cancer sign right now. And of course, we get the sign of the mother. So this couldn't be more perfect. The tarot is all about synchronicity. So Cancer, the sign of the mother, and the number 3, the Empress, shows up here. So again, this is our time to nurture ourselves, to nurture our inner children. You know, everybody has an inner child, and that inner child work, which was really brought to the foreground in the 90s, is super important, you know, because on some level we always have an inner child. We need to mother and nurture that ourselves, especially if you've had a difficult relationship with your own mother. It is the divine mother, it is the divine feminine, the great mother that will nurture you unconditionally. You know, women always get blamed for everything. Mothers always get blamed for everything. We're just human, okay? So nurturing yourself, listening to your stomach. You know, Cancer is ruled by the stomach. So, you know, pay attention to what you eat. Your stomach might be very sensitive at this time. You know, what do you need to feel emotionally self in a world that's, you know, getting harder and squeezing all of us in the same way. So family, pulling together. It could be your chosen family, whoever supports you and nurtures you. You know, that's what you need to go to. Also being mothering and nurturing and caring for others and caring for the, you know, other people's families, children, treating everybody else like as if they're your children. You know, that's what the great mother, everybody is her children. All 8 billion people on the planet are her children, and all the rocks, trees, and everything on the earth as well. So this is a sign of pregnancy, so it could be very fertile for you. Cancer, it's a good time to redecorate your home and definitely be near water, and give and to nurture, but also Cancer, because you need to be needed. Remember that you need to receive. So when you need to ask for help, make sure that you can ask for it. Okay. Chicken soup of the soul, you know, you need to have that for yourself, Cancer. Okay. All right. All right. Now, Leo. So we are going to get up to Leo time. And of course, we're going to have illumination this month as well, featuring you. All right. So Leo, you get the Magician here, the number 1. So the number 1 card in the tarot, the Magician. This is your time to focus on your mind and how your mind manifests and creates all the magic in your life. Okay. So juggling all kinds of new ideas, new possibilities, new relationships, new offers, new everything. So this is very positive for you. Again, you know, Leos are ruled by the heart and will. So I see you juggling all kinds of new things and being very happy and very positive. Could be new relationships, new everything. So just see that as a very positive thing and jump into it. And yeah, play some tricks, have fun, help other people lighten up. You know, start a new job, new relationship, anything that you want to start and initiate. That's great for you, Leo. Okay. All right. All right. So Virgo. I've got my eye on the time here. Virgos. What is Virgo's got going on here? Virgo. You get the number 5, which is the symbol, the Hierophant or the Pope. I wonder what he's doing these days, actually. The High Priest. This is a masculine form of the one who we project connects directly with God. But ultimately, Virgo, you need to connect to your own higher self. This is the whole purpose of the tarot. So it is earthy, it is Taurus energy. So it's in a positive trine to Virgo energy. Okay. So the wisdom of the body, the wisdom of you are what you eat. So what you put in is what you get out. That's very much a Virgo thing. You are what you eat, ruling your upper digestion. So, but also needing to be more assertive. You know, Virgos are very humble, traditionally the servants of the zodiac. Where you need to stand your ground and where you need to speak your truth. You can see in this card, this is very feminist, actually, deck, this top tarot deck. There's the goddess Isis speaking her truth in front of the masculine symbol of the high priest. So she is the one, again, this divine feminine energy here is behind all the projections of masculine authority, which is what appears physically in the world. So listening to your own higher self, Virgo, and getting out of your head, you know, because it's always the body that knows. Okay. Also paying attention to what you eat. And like karma is cause and effect. You know, what you put in is what you get out. The number 5s in themselves are a bit testing. So Virgos, you could be careful of having some tests ahead of you. The 5-pointed star, the pentagram, is Venus's symbol, and she makes that 5-pointed star in her 8-year journey. So think about where you are in the Venus cycle journey. Again, maybe a good idea to take some Venus studies with Yulia. That's her expertise. Studying what phase you were born into when Venus was born. Also money, Virgos like to save money, and I think it's a good thing to store up food and, save your pennies and things like that. But whatever it is that you feel you need to speak from the feminine perspective, Virgo, you go and do that. Okay. All right. So Libra. Libra. All right. So now Libras, of course, you're known for the relationship sign, traditionally the sign of marriage, but it's all relationships, and you get the Hermit, the number 9. So don't be afraid of being alone. This is most heavy Libra's shadow side, the Hermit. Needing to be alone is a prerequisite, and liking your own company before you can authentically be in a real balanced soulmate relationship. If you don't like yourself, if you don't even know yourself, you can't be present for anybody else. So take the time to listen to your own inner wisdom. Now, Libras tend to depend on what other people think. So this is very good guidance for you, Libra. The number 9, it's about completion. So relationships may end during this time. It's important that you listen to your body, knowing the body never lies. Okay. If you think about it, Libra's an air sign, you're going to go, oh, well, maybe, but, oh, I can't do that because, oh, what will they think? But this is about, never mind that. That's your ego. You have to listen to your inner wisdom. The Hermit is a very protective energy, usually traditionally an old man in profile. This is a modern variation of it, holding that lamp. And that lamp is very, very protective, so that when you're alone, or you feel you're alone, or you don't know where you're at, your own inner Hermit will always be there to guide you and protect you. So this is going over the details, not being overly critical, but taking accounts. Virgo is like the accountant. That's Hermit is Virgo energy. Looking at the details, maybe taking account of your spending. Libras like to spend, and this is a time of saving money for you, Libra. So being much more conservative about spending, about really looking at what you get or what you put out. The number 9 is, what am I going to harvest at the end of this? Really, very realistically. So this is a good time, and go within. Listen to your gut instincts as well. Again, this has to do with your digestion. It's a Virgo card. Watch what you eat. Maybe eat more plant-based. And take a sabbatical. It would be a great time to think things over, okay? But listening to your body at the same time. Okay. That's Libra. Okay. All right, Scorpio. Okay, South Node Scorpio. All right, now you get the dot card. Now I use this card because of this deck. This is the invisible Sephiro. This is the 11th Sephiro on the Tree of Life. And so in the Kabbalah, there are 10 major spheres, like archetypes, and this is the 11th one. So some people relate this to Pluto, which is your ruling planet in modern astrology. So Scorpio, this is kind of a card that I like to call, this is a sign that your holy guardian angel and your higher self is present for you. So Scorpios, just really tune into that, okay? Now Scorpios, can be in their deepest, darkest, most dangerous, singing to preserve themselves energy. And then they rise above that into the eagle that feels all the emotions but doesn't react. And then they rise above that into their phoenix stage, where they die and are reborn through all of the hard lessons they've had to go through. So Scorpio, you are protected. You do have your higher self there. So this is time to really let go of old grudges, old past soul karmic issues that you've been holding on to. Holding grudges isn't going to help. You're still tied to the past. You need to let go. This is time to take a big, brave leap into the present, which is also your future. Okay. So feel the presence of your holy guardian angel. You can call it in to protect you, Scorpio. All right. Okay. All right. So Sagittarius. Okay. Now, for a lot of you, you're getting, if you're born in the last 5 days of Sagittarius, you're in your kind of Neptune square. Of course, certain age groups are in that too. It usually happens around 37, 38. All right. So Sag, you get the universe here. Universe is Saturn. It's the last of the 21 cards in the tarot. The 22nd is the Fool returning again. So needing to finish up what you started. Sagittarians are notorious for starting and not finishing, even if they're the most mature sage of the fire signs. But you need to finish. There's completion. There are endings. There are limits. There are boundaries. So boundaries must be upheld right now. This is maturity. This is hard lessons for you, Sagittarius. Calling the boundaries enables you to be free. So if you take responsibility for creating everything in your life, then you can be free. Like this card is usually shown with the naked woman representing the soul dancing freely in the universe, surrounded by the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac, right? Which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. Right. So Sag, grow up, take responsibility, act mature. You do know what to do. You are the sage, okay? Rely on your inner wisdom. That's like Solomon's wisdom has been coming to me for the last few days. Everybody kind of needs to go into the Temple of Solomon to get that wisdom, all right? So finish what you started, even though there's been lots of obstacles and setback. You have to finish before you can move on. All right, that's number 21. That's the world or the universe, Sag. Okay, so Capricorn. I can't see how many of you are there, still there. Okay, Capricorn. Capricorn, you get the Capricorn card, which is the devil. So Capricorn, again, this has to do with, Pluto at its last degrees of Capricorn is the most deadly and the most intense. And again, I believe that Pluto is going to amp up all of the energies that it's been bringing, very much so for the next year and a half. Again, this is the U.S. Pluto return happening now, July the 11th. I'm going to do a chart on that. Is the second one with Pluto retrograde. So the devil. So projecting out onto women, for example, the plutocracy. Oh, it's women. We're afraid of women. We're afraid of women's power. We're afraid of giving women autonomy. And so this is this projection onto whatever, whether it's gays or whatever it is, projection that everybody does onto somebody else, which is really your own shadow. So Capricorn, you've got to take back your shadows, okay? And also the devil is temptation. It is the material world, not getting caught on what's going on in the outside world right now, because so much of it is fake news. Nobody really knows what's going on some level. So, but we also have to be concrete. We have to be real. We have to be physical. So this is about career, focusing on your career, focusing on what's happening long term. Now, there is really evil out there going on. And I think this has to, be faced squarely, realistically, not sugarcoating it, not pretending, not running away from it, not being in denial. That's more like Pisces. So Capricorn, better the devil you know than the one you don't. Also, we have our own inner devils and demons that we have to deal with right now. Be careful that you're not taken over by these forces and then projecting onto someone else. You're wrong. You're bad. You didn't do what's socially acceptable. That's the divide and conquer thing that's going on right now. So always you can laugh at the devil. It's not really real. You know what I mean? When you're strong in yourself, when you're sure-footed, when you're really in your Capricorn power, nobody can shake you. Okay. All right. So Capricorn, the devil. So also it's about taking apart the projections that you've put on yourself as well. What roles am I playing? And really going, no, that's not really who I am right now. Okay. And maturing. Okay. So Aquarius, you get the card of the Lovers here. The number 6, the card of the Lovers. So Aquarius, this can be very literally in your relationship, a strengthening of your love. Saturn rules marriage in a way, because any long-term signing on the dotted line commitment, it doesn't have to be a marriage, but technically that physical contract, that signature, that public display that you're making this lifelong commitment to someone makes it more real. So whatever you love to do, Aquarius, do that. It's about binding is the word that comes to mind, your mind and your heart. And so the two sides have to work together. In alchemy, the feminine, the intuition, the soul is what comes first. And then the masculine is the action on behalf of the feminine. So that is the divine balance that is true matriarchy. It's not about power over. And so this is kind of a blessing for you, Aquarius, of finding your love, finding your true team, finding your compatriots. It is the number 6 in the tarot, which is the symbol of balance of heaven and earth. So this can be a very, very good positive time for you, Aquarius, doing what you love to do. Again, spreading the word, communicating, bringing love into the world in whatever way that you can. Okay, Aquarius. All right. Now, Pisces, we're saving the best for last here, of course. So Pisces, let's see what we got here. I'm watching myself in a time loop here. Well, that's okay. All right, Pisces, you get the sign of Cancer, the number 7, the Chariot here. So Pisces, you have to be in the driver's seat emotionally. You cannot get caught up with all of the fog and mirrors, the smoke and mirrors show that's going on in the world. So everybody who's very, very sensitive, psychics, empaths, anybody with lots of Pisces, or anybody with lots of water even in their chart, you've been a big psychic sponge. I talk to clients like this all the time. You have to be able to be centered emotionally. Okay, so this is a beautiful card. There's a whole spiritual practice associated with this card alone called Merkabah, throne worship in Judaism. The best thing I can tell you, Pisces, is to use this card. It's one of the most powerful cards to use for meditation and picturing yourself as this golden suited, golden armored charioteer with the wheel of karma, the wheel of time on your lap. That is the phenomenal world. You're in charge. You're protected. See the canopy over your head. You can see the symbol of Cancer actually on there. So protecting the Divine Mother, protecting the source, your emotional source. Also riding the ups and downs of the waves, that's going on right now in the world. And again, keeping equilibrium. And it's also about knowing cycles. There are times to move forward and times to resist and times to rest. And so that, the 7s are 7 days of the week. So, it is all about waves. So learning how to ride the wave like a big cosmic surfer. So again, if your dreams are what centers you, if being in nature is what centers you, if singing or dancing or writing or resting, if you just need to rest, let yourself rest, okay? Being at home, doing whatever it is to make you feel emotionally safe. Boundaries. Pisces, you need boundaries. Okay, that's why the Cancer, the crab, is important. There is a boundary there. That shell protects you. All right. So I want to thank you all for being here. I want to wish you all a wonderful July. If you want to get in touch with me, I'm at tarot.com. Subscribe to Cosmic Intelligence Agency. They have a wonderful new magazine. It's free, called Time Lords as well. And I'll be seeing you again next month. Many blessings. Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.